Could the Khan family, and that's Tony and Shad Khan, be in the running to buy the WWE? This was the rumor that got out this week after an article in Barron's magazine, I believe it was on their website actually, a business magazine, had put out a story that Shad Khan, owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Fulham football team, and all kinds of other shit, I'm sure, has, investments in, and of course, AEW, are in the running to buy WWE as well. They are said to be interested in doing this. And again, the internet just fucking went nuts on this. I actually got into a couple arguments with people in Facebook groups on this one. This was fun. People just don't seem to believe that this is a possibility. They balk at it. They laugh at it. This is a big fucking joke to them. But it's not a joke. And I'm going to explain to you why. But before I do, let's go ahead and listen to a clip from Jim Cornette on Corney's drive-thru, where he does the very same thing. He scoffs at it. He balks at it. He laughs at the very idea that the Khans could be in the running to buy WWE. Listen to this clip and then catch me on the flip side why I explain to you that they absolutely are in the running to buy WWE. Check this out.
Oh, come on.
Lots of questions have come in about potential buyers, but an inordinate amount have come in about the idea that Tony should, or that Tony could, or that Tony would buy WWE. So without dismissing it and laughing about it, what are your thoughts on the Khans as potential buyers of WWE?
Okay, in all honesty, and I think we mentioned this when we did the breaking news on Vince first coming back. Yes, Shad Khan was willing to give his son his inheritance early so he could see him enjoy spending it. But I don't even know if Shad, and Shad has other children, doesn't he? But I don't know if even he is prepared to say, okay, let's get into a $6 billion deal, Tony. You've been doing so well with what you got. And then they wouldn't sell it to him because, again, if you're, whether it's the WWE or whether it's Sony Pictures or whatever major entertainment entity, yeah, you might want Warner Brothers Discovery to buy it, or Disney to buy it, or NBC Universal to buy it, or whatever. But just because some fucking clown that won the lottery had $6 billion, would you say, okay, well, he's outbid Warner Brothers Discovery or NBC Universal by $200 million, so we're going to sell it to the fucking guy that's going to bring $6 billion in a shoebox. So, no, it's ridiculous. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Corney's not alone, dude. People are laughing their ass off at this situation. And now look, before I get into my rant on the Khans being in the running here, I do want to say that I don't think the Khans are going to buy WWE. I think it'll end up with a big media conglomerate. I don't even think it's going to end up with the Saudis. I think one of these big U.S. media companies are going to end up acquiring WWE. But that's just me. That's just speculation, completely based on the information we have so far. But to say that Tony and Shad Khan are not in the running to buy WWE is it's stupid. And it's uneducated, to be quite frank. I got into an argument, a couple arguments on Facebook. Just somebody put a post and they were kind of laughing about it, and saying that, how that's just never going to happen, that it couldn't happen. And because Shad's not going to spend all that money on WWE or whatever. Shad Khan is worth 11 or $11.5 billion. There's only 2,700 and change, about 2,750 billionaires on the planet, and Shad Khan is one of them. You always hear Chris Jericho brag, my boss has more money than your boss, talking about WWE, right? Vince is a billionaire. The Khan family are multi, 10 times over billionaires, at least on paper, right? So he has the money to do it. But again, people in these Facebook posts were arguing, yeah, but he's not going to spend his fucking whole life savings, his entire net worth on the WWE, which is said to be going from, UFC sold for $5 billion back in 2016. WWE is going to go for considerably more than that at this point. Not quite 10 though. I would expect to see WWE sell in the 7 to 8 range. That's going to be my guess, 7 to 8 billion. And certainly they're right. Shad's not going to cash out 7 of his $11 billion to buy the WWE. However, it doesn't work like that. And I tried to explain this to people as well in the Facebook, and then I got yelled at for that. People don't want to be educated. And that's what frustrated me so much about my Facebook interactions this week. I didn't jump in and try to go, well, actually, it's me. I'm trying to educate people because I went through this over the summer. I followed the Twitter thing very closely. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, maybe not anymore, apparently. It's all made up numbers on paper anyway. That's not how this works, though. Elon Musk did not pay $44 billion out of his own pocket for Twitter. He brought in other investors. All you got to do when you're buying a big company like this is you have to put up a percentage. You got to put up a good chunk of your own. The Khan family only needs to put up probably a couple billion, 1, 2, maybe 3 billion of their own money, which is, still a very large chunk. Don't get me wrong. And this is why, again, I don't think they will buy it, but this is why they could. People don't want to hear this. People just want to get mad about it. Well, they can piece it together. They can put in a couple billion themselves, and then they can leverage the rest. They can either get angel investors that just want a little piece of the change but don't want to actually run it, or they could just, borrow money from other investors, and then they can get paid back with a little interest over time. The WWE is worth... It's a money printing machine. That was something else. So after I had said, no, they don't need to, somebody else was like, well, who's going to want to invest in the WWE? Like they're going to be able to find people to invest. Shut the fuck up. WWE prints money. They are a money printing. You're buying a money printer when you buy the WWE. They are a proven commodity. They have multiple billion-dollar media rights deals in place. They got the billion-dollar deal with the Saudis. They got the billion-dollar deal for the WWE Network. They got a billion-dollar TV rights deal for fucking... You guys don't know what you're talking about, man. All the licensing and merchandise and stuff. Now, they're not going to make their money back overnight, but this is far from a stupid investment or a risky investment. It's been around for 50, 60 years in its current iteration. It's been around since the 80s, at least, as the worldwide force in sports and entertainment, This is absolutely a fair buy. And look, Shad Khan used to take fucking Tony to the WWF shows as a kid. And Shad used to watch Tony watch it on the TV and stuff. Shad's well aware of the WWE. He knows all about it. He knows how long they've been around. And trust me when I tell you, when Tony was trying to get AEW up and started, Shad got to see a lot of numbers from what WWE was doing as Tony tried to talk him into showing him the market value and the potential worth and the potential profitability and all of this stuff of another wrestling company. Here's what a wrestling company can do in the industry. Shad's not a stupid man. He's not. He loves his son very much, and he trusts his son. His son is a very smart and savvy businessman, despite what all of you fucking people would like to think about Tony Khan, and myself included at times as well. Tony Khan is a very smart guy. You know what I mean? He's a numbers guy on top of that. Shad and Tony absolutely can take a look at this and go, yeah, this is absolutely something we would want to pursue. They put a couple billion into it, invest in it themselves, and then they can seek out some outside investors to help them put that deal together. They own the Jacksonville Jaguars, which are on their way to a possible Super Bowl win. They own the Fulham football team, who got bumped up to the Premier League, which is like, they have different, there's like a lower and a higher level. There was a couple years back, people were giving Tony Khan shit for Fulham being knocked down, and they were saying, he's a bad manager and he's spreading himself too thin. Well, it appears Tony Khan's doing himself pretty goddamn good right now. And let's not forget the fact that getting a TV deal, a national TV deal on a giant network like Turner, is not a small deal either. That's something that pretty much nobody has been able to accomplish except for Vince McMahon. Even Ted Turner with WCW, they had, Turner already owned the TVs, so they didn't have to shop around for a TV deal. Vince McMahon's really the only guy that's been able to get a multi-million-dollar to $1 billion TV deal. Tony Khan being able to do that for AEW, any way you slice it, whatever you think of him or the deal or whatever the case, that's a big fucking move. These guys know what they're doing. They have the skills, they have the talent, they have the money and the resources and the knowledge of the industry to put this deal together. They know what they're buying into. They know it's worth. I would not count them out. You would be an idiot to count them out. It's dismissive. I think these people that are like I said, people are just arguing with me on Facebook about this. People don't want to know. I try to educate them like he doesn't need to spend he doesn't need to buy it out of pocket. Even if he doesn't get outside investors, he can leverage it with a bank. He can borrow the money to do it. You know what I mean? You don't need to buy out of pocket. Billionaires buy houses. They still take out mortgages and shit. Why? Because it's good for their credit and because it's not their money. They want to keep their money free to invest in other shit. They don't want to tie it all up. That's not how these things work. When I try to jump in and educate people, and again, I'm not a genius. I'm not a big business fucking. I got a business degree, but I'm not like, Johnny fucking smart guy here on it. I followed the whole Twitter situation, and this is exactly what Elon Musk did. Elon Musk financed this buy. He did not spend $44 billion out of pocket. That's insane. So to say that the Khans aren't going to spend $10 million out of their pocket, no, they're not. They wouldn't. And when I try to tell you that, who's going to buy WWE? Who's going to want to invest in it? And people, and then they throw out names. I got name called and shit. It's like you don't want to hear the correct answer is, I wasn't aware of that. That's makes sense. Then I guess that does make it possible, doesn't it? But instead, they just want to try to dunk and make themselves sound right. And I schooled a lot of people. I had to block a couple people, and it was a big mess. And I don't try to get into these messes out there on the internet. Just trying to spread knowledge. You would think just telling people how this business deal could be a possibility, people would be interested in that, but they're not. They don't want to hear that. They just want to hear that Tony Khan's a mark. He's an idiot, and his papa ain't got all the money to do it. And Daddy's not gonna spend $10 billion on his son's play toy. That's not the case. These are investments. WWE is a money printing machine. It is a wise investment. This is not a money loss to buy WWE by any stretch. You're not going to make it all back in your first year, but over time, this is going to be a very worthwhile investment for you. It's going to continue to get big media rights deals, maybe not if the Saudis get it or, whoever takes over. They might not be able to put together the same kind of deals that a Nick Khan could, for example. But, I mean, TV is horny for live events. They're horny for live shows. People watch everything on demand these days. So the only time that people want to tune in and watch TV as it's happening is for stuff that's live and can't miss. Now, I'm not saying that every wrestling show is can't miss. What I am saying is when it's live, you're going to miss shit. A surprise return, a match, an injury, a debut, who knows? You know what I mean? There's always something that could happen that you're missing out on. and TV will pay prime fucking money for this shit. Not to mention all the licensing and all that kind of stuff. WWE is not going to lose anybody money, whoever buys it. So Shad absolutely sees dollar signs when he looks at WWE. And if you think I'm wrong, you're blind. You're not thinking rationally at this. Now, again, I don't think they're going to buy it. I think this deal is going to be a little bit too big for them. I think that is still a hefty investment for the Khan family to put in, even if they are only putting in like 1, 2, 3, 4 billion of their own money. That's still 1, 2, 3 out of 11. That's a giant investment. They're not wasting it. They're not losing money or throwing it away, but it's a lot to tie up in one deal. And for that reason, I don't know that they're going to make that move. But for anybody to sit out there and say with a straight face that they think this could not happen, it'll never happen, it's not capable of happening. It won't happen, and not capable of happening are two very different things. And the Khan family is highly capable of buying this. And again, I've heard the rumor too, WWE's not going to want to sell to Tony Khan. You know, they've been spending their time trying to, bury the Khan, AEW and all that kind of shit. They're not going to want to sell to their competition. My competition in the palm of my very hands. The very fate. Can you imagine the Tony Khan simulcast? Again, you guys are just uneducated. A publicly traded company has an obligation to their shareholders to sell to the highest bidder. So if the Khan family are able to put together a deal that is going to be a better deal than what NBC, Universal, Comcast could offer them or Disney would offer them, because these media companies can offer more than the Khans, and that's why I think they're ultimately going to be the ones that end up with it. But anybody that's in the pool to buy, if the Khans outbid them, WWE has to sell to them. They have to. They're obligated to. Twitter didn't want to sell to Elon Musk. They hated the idea of selling to Elon Musk. They refused it, but they had to because nobody was going to outbid Elon Musk in that. And they weren't even up for sale. Elon just said, you know what? I want to buy you guys. Here's my offer. And they fucking panicked. They're like, we don't want this. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And then they did what they were obligated to do, which was sell to Elon Musk. So if the Khan family comes to the WWE and says, here, bro, here's my $10 billion offer, and everybody else is coming in at 8 or 9, guess what? Guess who's getting the WWE? Tony fucking Khan. Now, I'll wrap this up here, but one other thing I wanted to explore on this is if this ever happens, which I don't think it will, but it could, and I'm not going to be surprised if it happens. I'm not stupid or arrogant enough to think that this can't happen. They're a serious contender, and if they do buy it, I hope to God Tony doesn't try to book the thing himself or merge the two companies. That would be bad for the wrestling business as well, having a monopoly. So that's another reason why I kind of hope they don't. But it would be fun to see, and I trust WWE in Tony's hands. He loves wrestling enough, right? He's not going to try to do anything that's going to hurt the business or anything like that. But what would hurt the business is if he tried to book the whole thing himself. He's already, to book, he needs a booking committee. He needs a creative team around him for these things. He should not be running this company himself. He should be letting whoever else is running it, Triple H perhaps. I'm sure maybe he'd leave at that point. He needs to have somebody else running the WWE. He can't do all that shit himself. Or have somebody else run AEW if he wants to run WWE, whatever the case may be. Or maybe he merges the two and maybe AEW doesn't exist anymore. Or maybe it comes World Wrestling Elite or something instead of Entertainment. You never know how this shit could play out. But I hope to God, if they do end up with it, that Tony doesn't think that I can just play fantasy booker for a third promotion now, because that's just insane. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. We're going to get in another social media fight. We're going to get in the scraps in the comments. You guys are going to tell me how stupid he'll never buy it. I just explained it all in fucking plain English. So fuck you. But yeah, I mean, if you have another point of view, please leave it down in the comments below. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next. Hey, thanks for checking out that clip. Don't forget to check out other clips here on the channel. And while you're there, throw a like, throw a subscribe. And don't forget to check out full episodes each and every Sunday of the Pro Wrestling Podcast.